Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 23rd, 2020 legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order. At this time, I would like to observe a moment of silent meditation or prayer. Please join me. Thank you. This evening, we have two proclamations. Acting Mayor and City Administrator Julia Glanz will give the proclamations.
Good evening, everybody. So our first proclamation up for this evening is for our beloved Bob Cook. So whereas the Delmarva Council of the Boy Scouts of America has chosen Colonel Robert W. Bob Cook as the 2020 recipient of its Outstanding Eagle Award. And whereas this prestigious recognition is awarded by local councils to Eagle Scouts who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and made a positive impact on the local, state, or regional level of a community. And whereas Colonel Bob Cook's lifetime accomplishments as an Eagle Scout in 1943, a distinguished military officer and a decorated veteran serving in Germany, Europe, Korea, and the Maryland Defense Force, and an enduring community leader since 1967, who has left an indelible mark on youth, families, and organizations in the community, made him an outstanding candidate for this award. And whereas Bob has called Salisbury, Maryland home since 1967, when he served as the first executive director of the Greater Salisbury Committee and facilitated the founding of numerous community organizations vital to our community's well-being and economic development. And whereas upon his retirement from the Greater Salisbury Committee, Bob continued to be a driving force in service to our community, holding leadership positions in numerous organizations and making key contributions to our community, including founding of the Salisbury Neighborhood Services Organization and establishment of a countywide delinquency program to benefit area youth. And whereas Bob maintains a steadfast and active commitment to the Boy Scouts of America, having served at one time as president of the Delmarva Council of Boy Scouts of America and the YMCA of the Chesapeake, having served at one time as a board member, and where he continues to volunteer his time. And whereas the Delmarva Council of the Boy Scouts of America will honor the man who exemplifies duty to God, country, and community by presenting its 2020 Outstanding Eagle Award to Colonel Robert W. Bob Cook during a virtual reception that was held Thursday, November 12th. And now, therefore, I, Julia Glanz, City Administrator of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim this past November 12th as Colonel Robert Bob Cook Day. And Jack, I know you presided over the ceremonies or at the Boy Scout breakfast, so I don't know if you want to add anything of how he took it and all that.
No, I just, Bob and I go way back. He was actually a mentor of mine when I first came down here. And he was involved in so many, his hand has touched so many areas in the city that they're hard to actually put down in writing. It would take you many, many sheets of paper to do that. But he's very happy. He's doing well. A little less active than he used to be, but this is very important to him. So congratulations to my friend and my mentor, the Colonel. Thank you, Julia.
So I have 3 on the agenda, Jack. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page there. So I'm going to read 2 more.
I have. You're right. We do have 3.
Okay. Well, this next one is for Small Business Saturday. So whereas the City of Salisbury, Maryland supports local businesses which create jobs, boost local economies, and preserve local communities. And whereas according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 30.7 million small businesses in the United States, which represent 99.7% of all firms with paid employees in the United States, and are responsible for 64.9% of net new jobs created between 2000 and 2018. And whereas small businesses employ 47.3% of private sector employees in the United States, and whereas 95% of consumers who shop on Small Business Saturday reported that the day made them want to shop or eat at small independently owned businesses all year long, not just during the holiday season. And whereas 96% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agreed that shopping at small independently owned businesses supported their commitment to making purchases that have a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And 97% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agreed that small businesses are essential to their communities. And whereas 62% of small businesses in the United States reported the need to see consumer spending return to pre-COVID levels by the end of 2020 in order to stay in business, 65% of small business owners in the United States said it would be most helpful to their businesses to have their regulars return and start making purchases again. And 75% of consumers in the United States are reportedly looking for ways to shop small and support their communities. And whereas the city of Salisbury, Maryland celebrates its local small businesses and contributions they make to the local economy and community, and joins advocacy groups as well as other public and private organizations across the country, which continue to endorse the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, I, Julia Glanz, City Administrator of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim November 28th, 2020 as Small Business Saturday. And it is so important for us to make sure we're shopping local this holiday season. You know, there are going to be businesses in our community that aren't here in the spring, without a doubt. So the more we can avoid Amazon, and no offense to Muir, Walmart, as much as we can shop local. I mean, shopping at Walmart locally is better than shopping online. But these folks need it. Walmart's going to be around. These folks may not. And I know we're the city and Laura Soper's team are doing everything they can, and the Chamber of Commerce and others to promote one another and make sure that they're there come the spring. So whatever we all can do is much needed. All right, and the last one is for Lung Cancer Awareness Month. So whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among men and women in the United States, accounting for more deaths in Maryland in 2020 than colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer combined. And whereas according to the Maryland Department of Health, there were 18,653 new lung cancer cases and 13,385 deaths because of lung cancer in Maryland between 2015 and 2019. And whereas the 5-year survival rate for localized lung cancer is approximately 59%, yet only 17% of lung cancers are diagnosed at this stage. And whereas screening for lung cancer for high-risk individuals use low-dose commuted tomography can lead to earlier detection of lung cancer and save lives, reducing the mortality by 20% when compared to screening by chest X-ray in the National Lung Screening Trial, and reducing the risk of death at 10 years by 24% in men and 33% in women, as demonstrated by another large randomized trial. And whereas funding for lung cancer research trails behind funding for research of many other cancers, additionally, research is needed in early diagnosis, screening, and treatment for lung cancer, as well as lung cancer affecting women and men cancer health disparities. And whereas women diagnosed with lung cancer are more likely to be younger and never smokers, more women die from lung cancer than breast cancer every year. Lung cancer incidences and mortality rates in women are rising relative to men. And by 2035, it is expected that more women will die from lung cancer than men. And whereas organizations working in the Salisbury community, such as the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative and Women's Lung Cancer Forum, are committed to educating the public about cancer and lung cancer screenings, and to increase lung cancer screening rates in Salisbury, Maryland. Now, therefore, I, Julia Glanz, City Administrator of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim November 2020 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you, Julia. Appreciate that. Very worthwhile organizations for sure. At this time, I'll call for a motion and a second to adopt the legislative agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Ms. Jackson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move. Second.
Ms. Jackson made the motion, Ms. Blake seconded. Good evening, Mrs. Nichols.
Good evening, Mr. Heath, everyone. On the consent agenda this evening, we have 3 items. The October 5th, 2020 work session minutes, October 26th, 2020 closed session minutes, and November 2nd, 2020 legislative session minutes. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions on the consent agenda? Mr. Boda,
No questions.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions.
Ms. Blake,
No questions.
Mrs. Gregory.
No questions.
I'll call the motion then. All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The consent agenda is approved by a vote of 5-0. Motion, I will entertain a motion to approve the award of bids.
So moved.
We'll give that one to Ms. Blake and the second to Mr. Boda. Good evening, Mrs. Miller.
Good evening, Council President Heath, members of the council. We have 2 items tonight on the agenda for the Department of Procurement. The first item is the Department of Procurement asking to enter into a multi-year agreement to purchase water meters and metering supplies on behalf of the Department of Field Operations. This is providing and delivering Neptune water meters and metering supplies to support the current water meter infrastructure for the city of Salisbury. The vendor is Core & Main out of Milton, Delaware. This is being procured under Municipal Code 2.32.050.C.5, which is non-competitive negotiation or sole source procurement. In the packet, I did attach the sole source justification. That's a form that the procurement department uses with the departments to justify why it is a sole source. And there's also a letter from the vendor from Neptune showing that we're locked into purchasing from Core & Main. The city of Salisbury has been able to negotiate volume pricing on select registers and meters. Stock will only be ordered as needed, but we did not imply any set quantity or guarantee a quantity. We are looking for a 1-year term with 2 one-year renewal options. So the Department of Procurement does request council's approval to enter into a contract with the vendor as indicated.
Any questions for this item? Mr. Boda,
No questions.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions.
Ms. Blake,
None.
Mrs. Gregory.
None.
Now, I'm happy to see that these I'm assuming are the smart meters that we discussed for the that are part of that system. I think Tom's either Tom or Amanda.
Yes, they are.
Fantastic. That's
They're
great.
compatible.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, would you like me to go on to the next item?
Yes, please.
All right. This is also for the Department of Field Operations. This is a declaration of surplus for vehicle number WM6. We did get a request from the Department of Field Operations to declare this vehicle as surplus. It was involved in an accident. It's unable to be put back into service. You'll see on the department memo, they do have additional information. So if this is approved by council, we'd like to receive the insurance proceeds and turn it over to legit local government insurance trust as salvage.
Great. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No questions. It sounds good.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions.
Ms. Blake,
None.
Mr. Gregory,
None.
third item. Mrs. Miller?
Actually, there was just the two for us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, I'll call the motion then. All those in favor of the award? All those in favor of the award of bids, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The award of bids is passed by a vote of 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3076.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson? Mrs. Gregory? Ms. Glanz?
Good evening. Resolution number 3076, a resolution of the City of Salisbury to purchase improved real property located at 519 Delaware Avenue from Twilley Construction Incorporated for use of the Department of Field Operations. Whereas the seller, Twilley Construction Incorporated, owns improved residential property located at 519 Delaware Avenue, which was acquired by deed dated May 1st, 1959, and recorded in Wycomico County, Maryland, Land Records in Lieber JWTS number 475, folio 52. And whereas the City of Salisbury owns the property adjacent to this property, and whereas the Department of Field Operations utilizes the adjacent property owned by the city and desires to expand, and whereas the City of Salisbury desires to purchase the property located at 519 Delaware Avenue to further meet the needs of the Department of Field Operations, and whereas the attached contract of sale for the purchase of the property located at 519 Delaware Avenue is required to be authorized by the City Council prior to signing, which affords protection to the city if issues related to the title, property condition, etc., cannot be remedied to the city's satisfaction before the city is obligated to complete the purchase.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda?
No questions or comments?
Ms. Jackson?
I do have a question. I'm looking now, and I'm not for sure, 519, is that on the corner, right on the corner across from the church, Mack Avenue?
Yes, it's at the corner of Delaware and Mac.
Yeah, okay. What are we doing with that area? Are we extending the city that way?
Part of the field operations master plan is to have control of the entire block. Part of the discussion has been to direct stormwater to that corner of the property so that it could then be conveyed to Cody Cox Branch.
Mm-hmm.
There is one residential property remaining there on that corner, and we'll be looking to acquire that at some point in time. But it would be used for stormwater detention, potentially.
Okay, just wanted to know.
Thank you.
Hmm?
Ms. Blake?
None.
Mrs. Gregory?
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution number 3076, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3076 is passed by a vote of 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3077.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Blake? Ms. Jackson? Ms. Glanz?
Resolution number 3077, a resolution of the City of Salisbury to purchase improved real property located at 601 West Isabella Street from Block Investment Group LLC for the use of the Department of Field Operations. Whereas the seller, Block Investment Group LLC, owns real property located at 601 West Isabella Street, which was acquired by deed dated May 11, 2016, and recorded in Wycomico County, Maryland, Land Records in Lieber MSB number 4006, folio 21. And whereas the city of Salisbury owns the property adjacent to this property, and whereas the Department of Field Operations utilizes this adjacent property owned by the city and desires to expand. And whereas the city of Salisbury desires to purchase the property located at 601 West Isabella to further meet the needs of the Department of Field Operations. Whereas the attached contract of sale for the purchase of the property located at 601 West Isabella is required to be authorized by the city council prior to the signing, which affords protection to the city if issues related to the title cannot be remedied to the city's satisfaction before the city is obligated to complete the purchase.
Thank you, Ms. Glanz. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No questions or comments.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions.
Ms. Blake,
None.
Mrs. Gregory.
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution number 3077, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3077 is passed by a vote of 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3078.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Ms. Jackson, Ms. Glanz,
Resolution number 3078, a resolution of the city of Salisbury to purchase improved real property located at 605 West Isabella Street from St. Fleur Family Investments LLC for use by the Department of Field Operations. Whereas the seller, St. Fleur Family Investments LLC, owns improved residential property located at 605 West Isabella Street, which was acquired by deed dated April 9th, 2009, and recorded in the Wacomico County, Maryland land records in Lever MSB number 3036 folio 249. And whereas the city of Salisbury owns the property adjacent to this property, and whereas the Department of Field Operations utilizes the adjacent property owned by the city and it desires to expand. And whereas the city of Salisbury desires to purchase the property located at 605 West Isabella Street to further meet the needs of the Department of Field Operations. And whereas the attached contract of sale for the purchase of the property located at 605 West Isabella Street is required to be authorized by the city of Salisbury prior to signing, which affords protection to the city if issues related to the title, property condition, etc., cannot be remedied to the city's satisfaction before the city is obligated to complete the purchase.
thank you, Ms. Glanz. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No, I'm just, these three properties, I'm just glad to see we're finally getting it done so we can move forward with our master plan for field operations.
thank you. Ms. Jackson,
I do have a question for Tom. Tom, is this as far as we going with field ops and the growth of the city of Salisbury in that direction? Are we going?
No, ma'am. The desire would be to purchase, again, we're trying to get the entire block. There'd be one vacant lot left that we would pursue and one structure left, or one developed parcel. And the owner of that particular property, forgive me, I'm not exactly sure of the address. She has also indicated interest in selling as well. We simply don't have the funds to pursue those properties at this time. They're not critical to the construction of the administrative building, so we've been pushing a little less hard than we have on these last few because they're more important to the overall project.
Okay, could I ask you another question? That parcel of land on the corner of Delaware Avenue and Isabella, the land that we were I guess were being donated by the Gertrude Shockley family, is that
Yes, ma'am.
master plan?
Well, the intent there was to, the city's already acquired that property by way of donation, as you mentioned. I believe the address is 617.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been my understanding that we would do something in the way of a dedication there
Okay,
to the former councilwoman.
okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Ms. Blake,
No questions.
Mrs. Gregory.
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution number 3078, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3078 is passed by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3079.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Ms. Blake, Ms. Glanz,
Resolution number 3079, resolution of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with First Move Properties LLC for the purchase of parking permits in the downtown parking garage. Whereas First Move Properties LLC intends to improve property it owns located at 130 East Main Street and 132 East Main Street and 144 East Main Street in the Central Business District. And whereas the attached developers agreement details the agreement between the City of Salisbury and First Move Properties regarding parking spaces in the garage, and whereas the developers agreement was approved via resolution number 2990, which was adopted on January 13th, 2020, and whereas modifications to the developers agreement was discussed at a city council work session on November 16th, 2020, and the amended version is attached. And I do apologize for Linda squeaking.
that's okay. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No questions or comments.
Ms. Jackson,
The comments.
thank you. Ms. Blake,
None.
thank you. Mrs. Gregory.
None.
Hearing there are no questions or comments, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution number 3079, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3079 is approved by a vote of 5-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3080.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Ms. Jackson, Ms. Glanz,
Resolution number 3080, a resolution of the City of Salisbury supporting the implementation of the Horizon program to encourage hotel and large-scale residential development and revitalization in the downtown area of Salisbury. Whereas the city seeks to incentivize the construction and expansion of business interests in and near the downtown area, specifically the Central Business Zoning District and the Riverfront Redevelopment Zoning District, as adopted in the via resolution number 2600 in the Envision Salisbury Master Plan, in order to increase the amount of economic activity in those areas. And whereas implementing the Horizon Hotel or Residential Incentive Zone program will support financially responsible businesses in their efforts to construct or expand hotel and multifamily residential development in those areas, which will further result in positive economic and social effects, including but not limited to increase in cultural activity opportunities, employment opportunities, extracurricular activities, business activities, and environmental upgrades. And whereas the city has developed a proposed ordinance and Horizons program application submitted with this resolution and attached as exhibits A and B, with specific requirements that shall be monitored, administered, and modified by the Department of Infrastructure and Development in order to ensure that all information and submissions are correct and properly considered. And whereas the city, through the Department of Infrastructure and Development, shall process applications connected to the Horizons program to ensure compliance with the program, and shall review and approve all completed applications before benefits tied to the program are approved and enjoyed by the developers. And whereas upon the approval and adoption of the Maryland State General Assembly to permit this type of tax credit, the city will support and pursue legislation to implement the Horizons program.
Thank you, Ms. Glanz. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda?
I want to thank Andy and Amanda for their work on this. This is a great tool in our toolbox with, the many different things as we address issues throughout our city and specifically as we encourage growth. So I think this is a vital tool, and I think it's going to have a positive impact to bring more residential down there, which will, it's all about beds and heads. And so to bring it there, and it will ultimately become a self-supporting area of our city. So I fully support it.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
No need of repeating the same thing. I concur with the mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
No questions. Sorry, no questions.
Thank you. Mrs. Gregory?
No questions. I think this will be good for the city.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution number 3080, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3080 is passed by a vote of 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2629 for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jackson and Ms. Blake. Mr. Tillman, good evening.
Good evening. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to authorize the mayor to sign the grant agreements to accept 2 grants in the total sum of $155,565.60 from the Maryland Department of Transportation, Maryland Bikeways Program for the design of the Rail Trail Phase 1 and West College Avenue Bikeway projects, and to approve an amendment of the FY21 budget to allocate said funds for the purposes of the implementation. Whereas the Maryland Department of Transportation has a Maryland Bikeways program for providing grant funds to support and expedite projects improving bicycle and pedestrian transportation in the state. And whereas the Maryland Department of Transportation and the City of Salisbury have been working together to improve bicycle connectivity throughout the City of Salisbury. And whereas the City of Salisbury desires to implement a bike route along a railway that runs north-south through the city, and whereas the City of Salisbury desires to implement a bike route along West College Avenue, serving Salisbury University and the city at large, and whereas the projects will enhance the bicycle safety and access to the population of the city, and whereas the Maryland Bikeways Program has awarded grants in the total amount of $155,565.60 to provide for the design of the West College Avenue and Rail Trail Phase 1 Bikeways project, and whereas the city shall accept the grant in the form of reimbursements and transfer those funds from the MDOT reimbursement account to the Bikeways Capital Projects account. And whereas 7-29 of the Salisbury City Charter prohibits the city from entering into a contract that requires an expenditure not appropriated or authorized by the city council, whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the city of Salisbury. Now therefore be it enacted and ordained that the city council of the city of Salisbury does hereby authorize the mayor to sign the attached grant agreement, accepting the project term and definition of matching funds for the betterment of the city and its residents, and accepting the grant funds of $155,565.60 from the Maryland Bikeways Program to design the West College Avenue and Rail Trail Phase 1 Bikeway project, and further authorizes grant reimbursements to be transferred to the appropriate Bikeways Capital Projects account. And be it further ordained that the city's FY 2021 grant fund budget be amended as follows. The Maryland Bikeways Program grant account will have a revenue increase of $29,608 and an expense increase of $29,608. And the FY20 Maryland Bikeways Program grant Rail Trail will have a revenue increase of $125,957.60 and an increase in expense of an equivalent amount, $125,957.60.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda?
I think this is one more chipping away at getting the our bike paths done throughout the city. So really excited about this. This is going to be a good thing.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
No questions or comments.
Thank you. Ms. Blake?
I'm very excited. No questions.
Thank you. Mrs. Gregory?
I think this is great. No questions.
Thank you. I agree. I'll now call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2629 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2629, the second reading is passed by a vote of 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2630 for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Tillman.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the FY21 general fund budget to appropriate insurance proceeds received in FY21 as part of the payment for vehicle repair. Whereas the City of Salisbury Zoo vehicle, small dump truck, was involved in an accident on site and was repaired by a local vendor. And whereas the Department of Field Operations is requesting that the insurance proceeds of $848.15 be placed in the zoo vehicle account. And whereas the zoo will utilize the funds from the insurance proceeds to pay for the repair within the FY21 budget year. And whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of these funds must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the City of Salisbury. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Salisbury that the city's fiscal year 2021 general fund budget is hereby amended as follows. Increase insurance proceeds by $848.15. Increase the Salisbury Zoo vehicle account by $848.15.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No questions or comments.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions or comments.
Ms. Blake,
None.
Mrs. Gregory.
None.
I'll call the motion then. All those in favor of ordinance number 2630 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2630 for the second reading is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2631 for the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jackson and Ms. Blake. Mr. Tillman.
Thank you. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with the Wicomico County Health Department for the purpose of accepting grant funds in the amount of $14,590 and to approve a budget amendment to the FY 2021 grant fund to appropriate these funds for the purchase of 2 commercial floor cleaners, walk behind style, and battery supplies. Whereas the Wicomico County Health Department received a direct allocation of funds through the federal coronavirus relief funds, and whereas the purpose of the CRF is to help support emergency medical response expenses, including emergency medical transportation related to COVID-19, and whereas the City of Salisbury Fire Department submitted a grant request to the Wicomico County Health Department for funding to assist with the purchase of a commercial floor cleaner, behind walk style, and battery supply for the 2 of its fire stations. And whereas the Wicomico County Health Department has awarded the city funds in the amount of $14,590, and whereas the City of Salisbury must enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Wicomico County Health Department defining how these funds must be expended, and whereas 7-29 of the Salisbury City Charter prohibits the city from entering into a contract that requires an expenditure not appropriated or authorized by the City Council, and whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the City of Salisbury. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salisbury that Mayor Jacob R. Day is hereby authorized to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Wicomico County Health Department to accept grant funds in the amount of $14,590 $590. And be it further ordained that the city's fiscal year 2021 grant fund budget be and hereby is amended as follows. Increase the Wycomico County Health Department revenue account by $14,590. Increase the Salisbury Fire Department equipment expense account by $14,590.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Mr. Boda, questions or comments?
Yes, since he didn't make it this evening, I'm going to request that once we get these up and running, that Deputy Chief Jimmy Gladwell send us video of him using them so we know that they work.
All right, we'll mark that down. Ms. Jackson?
No questions or no comments.
Ms. Blake?
No questions. I think Mr. Boda pretty much wrapped it up.
Certainly did. Mrs. Gregory?
No questions or comments. Can't top that one.
Nope. I think we'll let that go. I'll now call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2631 for the first reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2631 for the first reading is passed by a vote of 5-0. Before we get into the public comments, I'd like to recognize the head of our Phoenix project, Amber Green. Nice to have you with us tonight, Amber. You need to get some sleep.
I'll get there.
Okay. Ms. Glanz, do we have any public requests for public comment?
We do, both from Mr. Green and Mr. Shablin. So Amber, if you want to go first since you commented first.
Yes, thank you all for having me and as well as making the city council meetings as accessible as possible to our community so they can join in and have their voices heard. I would like to raise a concern that I've learned recently about the Eastern Shore pipeline that is coming to our area and that will be going through a lot of minority areas. And the dangers are there. Communities, activists have been talking about the fear of pipelines coming to communities since 2018. And it looks like that pipeline is coming to us really soon. In about 9 days, we have leaders in Annapolis who will be voting whether to move forward on this project. And I believe that this is an opportunity for the city council and the city of Salisbury to have their voices heard and to speak out against this pipeline. The reason why I believe that it would be important for the city council to research and to really have their voices heard about this pipeline is that this is, in a way, a replica of what happened in the when 50 came across and took out the minority communities in Georgetown. What had happened was the state had made a decision and did not include the community in the conversation, did not fully address the risks that the communities are taking. And because that this pipeline would go directly in the minority communities, this is literally history repeating itself. A lot of people did not know that this pipeline was this close into decision making. And I think that it would help us a lot if we could have some small government or government officials just contribute to saying, wait, hold on, let's not move forward with this, especially with the city of Salisbury, especially with us moving forward and trying to heal our communities and address the different issues that we have come through that involve with racial relations. I think it would be important for us to just take a pause and to look at who this pipeline is really affecting. Hopefully there will be a resolution of opposition proposed. It's dangerous. Not only is it affecting minority communities, but the communities in general. Pipelines are dangerous. The question is not when or if they will blow up, is when they will blow up. They put communities in danger. And I believe that we have a responsibility as community leaders. If the opportunity to our community is not there to have their voice heard, then we have to speak up for them and really say no to this. So I definitely would like to charge you guys to learn about it. I know that there are community members and other activists who are putting information out to learn about this pipeline. But again, because a lot of people are just now finding out that they're this close into pushing it through in a different work session, we only have 9 days to really advocate and push forward for this pipeline to not happen. So I wanted to spend my evening to really just open up the floor, provide this information to you and hopefully have your agreements in opposing this pipeline. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber, for your comments.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Shablin?
Good evening. Can everyone see and hear me?
Yes.
I just want to thank Madam Mayor Glanz and the honorable members of the council for allowing me to speak. So I want to piggyback a little bit off of what Amber said this evening. I think it would be an absolute tragedy with all the progress we've had to allow a natural gas pipeline to be built in the city of Salisbury, mainly through the communities of color here in Salisbury. As Amber said, it looks very much like a repeat of history. Before I proceed, I also would like to thank Councilwoman Gregory for already signing on and speaking out against this platform, about this pipeline. The information that I wanted to bring up about the pipeline is more of the economic implications of this pipeline. So one of the big things they're promising is, this natural gas pipeline, it's going to bring jobs to Somerset, it's going to bring jobs to Salisbury. I think everyone knows that natural gas and fossil fuels on the way out. The state of Maryland has already passed legislation requiring that we move towards green energy. What this pipeline comes off as is a get-rich-quick schemes for those who are investing in the pipeline and a long-term disaster for us. We get stuck with the bill. So I'm hoping that the city council will speak out before the December 2nd vote. On December 2nd, they're actually voting on the pipeline that will go through Salisbury, the city of Salisbury itself, down to Somerset County. This pipeline is also going to threaten about 1,239 square feet of streams and over 16,000 square feet of wetlands. It will damage our natural resources. It puts our bay at risk. Pretty much everything that our economy depends on, our environment and the bay. It threatens things like water quality, and it's just sticking old, outdated technology in our communities. I can't imagine, having Mayor Day come back in May, looking at all the beautiful things that have been done downtown and in other parts of the city, and then seeing an ugly pipeline going through the community, pretty much ruining everything else that has been accomplished. So I definitely hope that the city of Salisbury is willing to speak out against this pipeline and defend the progress that you've all made, because I think we all know a pipeline isn't exactly the prettiest thing to be built for a city. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Shablin. Any other requests, Ms. Glanz?
No, not from the public.
Okay. Would you like to make some comments, and then I'll open it for council members?
Me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Council President Heath. Just on the matter that was just touched on, it is a tight timeline, and I think this thing did sort of sneak up on all of us. And I think some of these state projects, the way that they're, that the state system just operates, it enables this to sort of happen. But I'd be interested in I know we don't have a council meeting between now and then, but a discussion at some point, and maybe putting a letter together on behalf of the city. At least, I'm willing to do that if council is in favor of that. I know there are a lot of folks that are in support of this, and I obviously don't know all of the details on it, but It's 2020, and we're talking about fossil fuels here. So for me personally, that doesn't match with where we want to go and our interests. So outside of that, I just hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving, and that I don't see pictures of all of you gathering with your family and loved ones. I want you to eat alone, as depressing as that is, because I want to see you here in a couple weeks. So I think that's all I have to share.
Thank you, Julia. Mr. Boda?
I want to thank Amber and Jared for their speaking up tonight. And Jared, I'll let you know. I'm still looking into it. I'll let you know my decision on where I stand on the pipeline the next day or two. I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. Love y'all. Wish we could be here in person. Jake, I'm happy that he was glad to be a part of the little shenanigans this week, but it's great to see him as he serves our country halfway around the world. Shop local, support your local businesses this weekend. If you need something from Walmart, we're there. It pays the mortgage. So, but I love you all. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Mayor. April?
First of all, I would like to congratulate our new president-elect for the Wycomico County NAACP, Bronte Deshields. And I would also like to thank Miss Maria Shante, who has been our president for, I know, more than 30 years. She has done a great work here. Miss Mayor, we're going to miss you being the president, but we know there comes a time when we must step down and relax, and that's what we would like for you to do. We thank you for your volunteer services. I know I do, and I look up to you. You're one of my role models, and I thank you for everything that you've done in Wycomico County. So just don't sit back. Still keep a bug in my ear. Thank you so much for everything. Also, Thanksgiving is Thursday, and just give thanks, everybody. Be thankful that we're still here. Take time. I know that we're not supposed to be with our families or whatever, but make sure you reach out to them and others some kind of way, if it's nothing but a phone call, to tell them that you love them and you care, and thanks for some of the things they've done. Don't eat too much. I'm gonna try not to, but I know. But I just thank you, and I want to see everybody. Like Julia said, in 2 more weeks, I would love to be in a group together and be able to just see one another face to face, but we know that's not possible right now. And as far as COVID is concerned, please follow the mandates that the governor has set forth for us all. Wear your mask. Social distance, I will say this a million times. I can never say it enough. We can never do it enough. Make sure you sanitize, wash your hands. If you have to keep hand sanitizer in your pocket, if you have to keep your mask or different masks in your car, your pocket, whatever, do that. But make sure that you protect yourself, because when you protect yourself, you're protecting others. Thank you, and have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you, April. Angela?
Hi. In regards to the pipeline, I've done a lot of research, and I actually have reached out to Delegate Cherie Sample Hughes, additional guidance and information, and so I have some very deep concerns as well. I'm just trying to figure out in the next 9 days what would be the most impactful way to move forward with that. Above and beyond that, I just want to make sure I've already started shopping local. I didn't wait till this Saturday, but this Saturday, of course, please shop local. But there are so many cute things in our shops downtown. And I've already started. So, and of course, if you're healthy enough, make sure you give blood. Please wear your mask. And above all, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Angela. Michelle?
Well, I just want to thank everybody again for sending best wishes for my son. He's doing better. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're getting better. And I'm incredibly thankful, speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm incredibly thankful for all the hardworking nurses and doctors and everybody here at, well, it's not PRMC anymore, is it? It's Tidal Health. But, at the hospital here in town, they work so hard. Let's not add to their workload. Please, please, please keep your family unit dinner small. Make sure it's just the people in your household that you'd be exposed to anyway. None of these extended family gatherings. Please, 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 because these folks are they're working just incredibly hard shifts. And I'm seeing it every day. And it is so, so important that you not only respect others' health, but you also make sure that you're helping these nurses and doctors not have to work quite so hard to save people. And, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, all the things that we've been saying for months and months. They're especially important right now because we're getting ready to go into another peak if we haven't already. And we really need to make sure that we're protecting each other, especially our frontline workers like the healthcare folks. So please, please, please do them a favor. Make sure you keep your Thanksgiving dinner small.
Thank you, Michelle. I echo what everyone has said. Wear your masks, folks. We have 3 potential vaccines on the way, but we have to be there to take advantage of them when they come. So please wear your masks. And relative to Thanksgiving, we all love to be together. This will be the first time in 52 years that my family has not had Thanksgiving together. But that's what we got to do. So I wish everyone a fantastic Thanksgiving. It's the best we can have. Say some prayers for everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.